We now have breaking news on that false missile warning in Hawaii over the weekend. Fox News' John Roberts is just now reporting there seems to be a discrepancy in Hawaii's emergency management timeline of events. Yes, they say it took 38 long minutes for that office to send out a retraction of the alert that had gone out, which was a false alarm. But they're now saying they were waiting on the feds at FEMA for authorization to call back the false alert. FEMA's saying their approval's not required to send a retraction message. So now we've got all this confusion at a point where it really would have only taken 20 minutes for a ballistic missile to get from North Korea to Hawaii. Let's bring in former Assistant Secretary of Defense Larry Korb. Larry, sometimes you need to have a mistake like this to show us how unprepared we are and what we need to do now to fill the gaping holes. But there's some fury on both the East Coast and certainly in Hawaii right now.
Well, there's no doubt about it. The fact that given what's happening between us and North Korea and the fact that Hawaii is closer to North Korea than the mainland of the United States, FEMA should have been working with these states because, as we just saw, California, they're the ones who put out the alert. But FEMA should have been working with them to say, how are we going to do it? What are we going to say? And then the other thing, I think the president, when he first knew about it, should have come on and said, no, there's a mistake. But let me tell you that we're building missile defenses to be able to deal with that. Yeah. In other words, he should have taken this as an opportunity to deal with it.
We just saw pictures of a little girl scurrying to get into what appears to be a shelter. It looks like a manhole, but it's actually a shelter. This is stunning, and I'm sure there was a lot of fear. That's the good news, that people did take cover. The bad news is there were so many questions as to what do we do. Tourists, for example, I was reading reports that they ran to the lobby and that employees at the hotel were crying and scared. They needed to be comforted. It shows we're just not prepared, doesn't it? What do we need to do to get this up and running now?
Well, FEMA's got to be working with the states in Guam and Hawaii, obviously at the top of the list, also in California, to talk about these deals. Given away my age, back when I was younger, we had these so-called duck and cover drills in schools, so we knew what we were supposed to do. Now, it's, a couple of years ago, if this had happened, would not be much attention. But the fact that it's happening now when the nuclear, we're heating up with the nuclear rhetoric, I think makes it imperative that we do something.
Every state, right? I mean, these missiles possibly could reach everywhere. And I guess the big concern now on behalf of FCC Chief Ajit Pai, who spoke on Fox and Friends earlier today, is simply that people may not take this seriously. They'll question the validity the next time it happens, saying, oh, it's just another false alarm, even though it clearly said, and we showed that text, incoming ballistic missile, this is not a drill. Are you worried about that, the validity of it?
I am, because you shouldn't allow one person to do it. You know, if you're on a nuclear submarine, you can't launch a missile unless there are two people, or if you're in, where the land-based missiles are. We should have at least two people in every state to prevent these type of mistakes from happening.
Larry Korb, thank you, and I hope this is a huge wake-up call.
I'm
sure it was a wake-up call at 3 a.m. when most of these people got it in Hawaii.